Well, it's New Year's, and while the Year of the Dragon doesn't really start until early February, now's as good a time as any to discuss Teyvat's very own bitch-made dragons, because that's what they are, and sovereigns, given they will surely play an important role in Natlan, which neuvillette called a nation of dragons. Besides, I wanted to clarify why I believe the Dragon King Nibelung was the second who came, but more about that later. Dragons in Teyvat play an important role given the world it's theirs. It is. That's right. Dragons are the natural order of this world and not humans. Once, long ago, all that existed were dragons and nothing else. And while I hesitate to call these little ugly-ass bastards dragons, I suppose that's what they are. I am racist to dragons, by the way, proudly, might I add. Celestia for life. The strongest of the dragons were known as the sovereigns, and the number of these sovereigns was 7, one for each of the elements native to Teyvat. They had a king of sorts known as Nibelung. Together, the sovereigns ruled the world for an indeterminate amount of time before it came along and vanquished the sovereigns, thus bringing an end to the rule of the dragons. The word vanquished is a bit ambiguous here just because the text writes, quote, 40 winters entomb the flames, and 40 summers churn the seas. The 7 sovereigns were vanquished, and the 7 nations submitted to the heavens. For clarity's sake, let's just call this the 40 Years' War. Regardless, we don't know how many of the original sovereigns remained following the war and how many still exist today. Just at the time, they were vanquished. However, at some point in history, we've come to learn that one sovereign did die in a conflict, that being the Dragon King Nibelung. Our favorite dragon crackhead Nibelung died in battle whilst souped up on forbidden knowledge. Oh, I'm serious, after absorbing the forbidden knowledge, he might have just did like this. And still lost, ain't that a bitch. But it might not have been in the 40 Years' War. Cause you see, there may have been 2 major wars between the Heavenly Principles and the Sovereigns. The first war was the 40 Years' War we were just talking about, and the second war may have been the one with the second who came, with Nibelung being the second throne of the heavens. We know Nibelung left this world to acquire the power of darkness from beyond, then later returned, but in the process did he become the second who came. Before Sun and Moon describes the war with the second who came as such, quote, the second throne of the heavens came, and war was rekindled, as it was in the world's creation. That day the heavens collapsed, and the earth was rent asunder. Asunder simply means broken into pieces, so this war completely totaled the earth. Some might even say it had the world on the verge of collapse. Also, I know some people think there might not have been a war with the second who came, which is weird when the text quite literally states, the primordial one must have defeated the second who came. So I mean, if not wars, what was the nature of the defeat? Hopscotch? Anyway, now let's see how a pep describes the war with Nibelung and the heavens.
The Dragon King acquired the power of darkness from outside of this world, and led us in a fight against the order established by the outsiders.
Dragon King?
An unimaginable war took place in Teyvat, causing destruction on an unprecedented scale. The world itself was on the verge of collapse.
So unless there were 2 different wars that both caused the world to be completely destroyed, odds are these are just the same war. Furthermore, like we said earlier, Nibelung left this world to gather forbidden knowledge, which means odds are he came from beyond the sky on his return. Nabu Milikada, the goddess of flowers who witnessed the arrival of the second who came, stated, quote, but in time invaders descended from beyond the firmament, bringing with them destruction, overturning rivers, spreading plagues. This again also matches up, although I think it's weird that she says invaders. Who else did Nibelung come back with? Pep never mentioned he left with anyone, so who was he with, bro? Maybe it wasn't him, who knows. The final point I wanted to bring up regarding this whole thing was that following the war with the second who came, Thanes casted down the divine nails, with again Nabu stating, but the master of the heavens, consumed by fear for the rising tide of delusion and breakthroughs, sent down the divine nails to mend the land, laying waste to the mortal realm. Now here's a pep talking about the aftermath of the war with Nibelung and the heavens.
But I didn't give up on searching for a way to turn the tides, even after the death of the Dragon King. As I attempted to collect more forbidden knowledge from the corners of the world, as it was on the verge of collapse, I was stopped by the giant spike that fell from the sky.
So again, it feels like a near certainty these were the same events, and as a cherry on top, we can look towards Neuvillette's story on Visions, which described Thanes as having fought in a war of vengeance that left it severely wounded. This cannot have been the 40 Years' War, given Neuvillette's statement implies Phanes originally used its absolute authority to keep order in this world. It was only after its functions were ruined in a different war that the Gnosis needed to be made. So again, unless there was one war, the 40 Years' War, and then another war that completely destroyed the Earth with the Second Who Came, and then another war that completely destroyed the Earth with Nibelung, and another war in which Phanes was severely wounded, odds are 3 of these are the exact same war. So anyway, all this was done to say Nibelung was probably the Second Who Came, or maybe not. I am an idiot, so who knows? This turned out to be a lot more of a Nibelung video than I had anticipated, but his fate was the most complex of all the sovereigns, whereas the others are pretty straightforward, because as it stands right now, they don't fucking exist. The Animal Sovereign, the Cryo Sovereign, the Electro Sovereign, the Geo Sovereign are a complete mystery. And while yes, some people say Ajdaha may be the Geo Sovereign, come on, man, he looks so much like a gremlin. Now, obviously, we know what happened to the Hydro and Dendro Sovereign, but what is going on with the Pyro Sovereign? You might remember Neuvillette's official introduction states this, quote, "Someday when they return, their true ordeal shall begin." I know you guys don't like it when I pronounce names wrong, but forgive me. Hey, in the New Year's, I'll pronounce names right, but as it stands right now, I'm calling this nigga Xbalanque. The way this is written implies Xbalanque was not the Pyros. I don't know if I can do it, man. I can't keep a straight face. The way this was written implies, I don't know, X is not the Pyro Sovereign. However, he is described as being entombed with the primal fire. X is one set of the Mayan hero twins, with the other being, god damn it, bro, Hanpu? Their story is one in which they try to avenge their Hanpu. They try to avenge their father who had been killed by a god. Eventually, they find the god that killed their father, fake their death, and are reborn as a pair of brothers who can perform miracles. Eventually, they catch the attention of the god who killed their parents once again, and do some miracles for them, one of which involves Xbalanque killing his brother only to bring him back to life. The gods asked them to do the same, so they kinda did. They killed the gods, you know, they got that part down pat. But they didn't bring him back to life. With the avenging successful, they ascended to the skies, where Xbalanque became the moon, and Hanpu became the sun, which is interesting, given you'd think Mihoyo would choose the other brother, given the sun is about as primal as a fire as we got here on the planet of the Earth. But speaking of the primal fire, it could be Xbalanque and Teyvat has the Pyro Authority. That's the only primal fire I can think of, but Natlan looks like it has a lot of old-ass fires. I know they have like a volcano, right? It could be some primal fires there. Regardless, based on a Pep's quote about friendly dragons, who knows? Maybe the Pyro Sovereign is just a friendly little critter just chilling in Natlan with the Pyro Archon, but we'll see. Until then, Happy New Year's, you beautiful sons of bitches.